How's everybody doing tonight? Tonight will be my 30th discussion. Tonight I'm speaking with Kerry Pries of the amazing band Makara. She was also in the short-lived band 1919, who absolutely crushed it. Um, and also the amazing band Welcome to Play Gear. Super stoked to talk to her. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Hope everybody's nice and warm. It's been snowing like crazy as usual. We're getting another storm Tuesday, another storm Friday, blah, blah, blah. Hope everybody's being safe, wearing masks, all that stuff. And like I said, happy Valentine's Day to all the lovers out there. Just waiting for her to jump on. Super stoked to talk to her. Big fan of Makara and Welcome to Play Gear. If anybody hasn't heard 1919, the demo, that shit is crazy good. I wish that band went on a little longer, but we'll dive into that and a bunch of other stuff. So I hope everybody's good out there. Just waiting for her to jump on. Here she is.
I'm here. Oh,
How you doing, Kerry Joe?
good. You?
Good, good.
Ah, it's so dark. How do I fix the light?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm new to this.
Oh, that's all right.
Um,
You might want to maybe your room needs a little more light to it, possibly.
yeah, let's see. Yeah.
There we go. It's better.
A little bit.
Yep.
Huh? Shit.
Still a little dark, but it's better than it was.
Right.
I want
Hello,
to
everybody.
I want to thank you for taking time out to do this. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
Especially on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you and your fiance.
Oh, thank you.
And hope you had a good day. I know you worked a long shift yesterday, so like I
Hmm.
said, thank you for taking the time out again.
Yeah, we don't celebrate Valentine's, so it's good.
Oh,
It's just a day. It's one of those Hallmark holidays.
yeah. Usually when I start out talking with people, I just ask how you first got into heavy music when you were a kid. What were you drawn to? I know I thought I heard in a interview that you liked metal first, and I was kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
What kind
Yeah.
of bands drew you, and what did you like back then?
Well, about 14 years old, I got into Metallica's Ride the Lightning. And from there, it just kind of took its way to punk rock in the middle to late 80s, and then to the early 90s to hardcore, which all my friends were in bands at the time. So I didn't care that I was a female in a male-dominated scene. Um, it just that I cared for the music so much that's just kind of what took me through the journey of that time of my life, of our lives, I guess.
And with Metallica, did you kind of go through that thrash metal phase where like did you
Yes,
listen to like
Anthrax,
Slayer and like Exodus?
Anthrax. I saw COC, DRI, all that. Yep.
Yeah, I was the same boat as you. I loved like, well, when I first started like in music, I like heavy metal, like Iron Maiden and Ozzy and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
like
Still do right here.
yeah, I do too. I love Iron Maiden. Um,
Fuck yeah.
but what like as I went on, I kind of got into thrash metal and then hardcore, just like you did too. And then
Right.
I branched out as I got older into like the screamo thing, which I can't stand that word, and I don't really
Me
like.
neither.
And I
If
don't like
people,
the word scrams either. So
right. If kids even knew back in the day, like of the bands we've seen, of the scene that we made our own, there's no way they'd be able to put those bands and what we did to make that scene happen to the music now, the hot topic music.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like it's disgusting to me. Just because we lived, that was our life. That's what we lived, and it's still a part of who we are. But we made that happen for ourselves. We made those fests happen. We made those shows happen. You know, we booked our own tours. We made those things happen for ourselves, by ourselves. You know, and to have that word be dragged in the mud over the years, this makes me. It's always made me sick.
Yeah,
Always.
I totally understand that, definitely. Were you born and raised in Milwaukee, or
Yes.
were you born somewhere else?
No, Milwaukee, South Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Woohoo! Packers. Yep.
And I heard that you used to set up shows. Was that before you got into bands?
It was. I was also I was touring with bands and setting up shows at the same time. Like I went on tour with Shopmaker in the probably like 92, 93. Toured with my friends' bands out west. But I started setting up shows because there were so many bands on tour that it was back in those days where you can just call them and be like, hey, are you going on tour? And they'd be like, yeah. And then I would have to organize 4 or 5 bands coming from the same area that are touring out in the Midwest to come to Milwaukee. So it would be shows, Ordination of Aaron, Indian Summer, Shopmaker, Current, all in one show. You know what I mean? So,
Wow.
But I made sure like the shows were worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Now, was there a big scene in Milwaukee at that time, or was it kind of smaller?
We built it. How it came to fruition is how we built it to how it became what it was, like basement shows. And then there's this place called Quarters, this bar that we would do shows at. I set up Born Against in this ballerina building in Cudahy, Wisconsin, of all places, because I had to find a venue big enough for Born Against. So it was it was just, you know, it's just a matter of people helping us out.
Yeah.
You know, so. And people with houses, stuff like that. Like we did, I set up heroin in this house that we used to live in, and it was actually a haunted house. And the skater kid downstairs actually moved out because he saw the ghost. But we're like, we're still going to have the show anyway. And we had the show anyway, and it was fucking amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. What were some of the couple shows that really meant something to you that you set up back then? What were like 2 of the most like important shows that you set up back then?
It had to have been Frail and Second Story Window. Those 2 bands together. The show with Evergreen, because Evergreen always touched my heart. So that's the one with Evergreen, Ordination of Aaron, Indian Summer, Shopmaker. I believe Los Crudos play that.
Wow.
It's not Los Crudos, then Current. But yeah. And then the fest in Columbus and the fest in Michigan always like got me because just because all of us from all around the country that made this scene what it was, we're all in one room together. And that was always an amazing thing.
Yeah, you had mentioned that Current, you've seen Current a bunch of times, and Ottawa, right? I'm a big fan of Ottawa. I love Ottawa.
Yeah, for sure.
They're so good. I'm jealous of that because I never got to see either one of those bands, and I never got to see Indian Summer, which I'm very, very jealous of.
Still Life too. Still Life Milwaukee became kind of like their second home for a few summers there. They loved coming to Milwaukee, so that was always, they played that show too. Still Life.
I've always heard great things about Milwaukee's scene back then too. Have you heard anything about nowadays in Milwaukee, how the scene is?
All my friends, well, half of our friends moved to Portland about 20 years ago and stayed there. And then the ones that stayed, they're still, I don't know if it's as active as a scene as it used to be, but there still is one, which is great. That means it's been carried on, 25 years later or something like that or more. So
yeah,
that's good to see, good to hear, because eventually I do want to move back there, and I do want to start music there just because those are my friends of almost 30 years. So I think, this time in our lives, now that we're getting older, if they still want to play music, I'm definitely into it. Definitely into it. Because you're never too old.
Yeah, it's true. That's good to hear. I love that you're still ready to, do some new music.
Yeah, well, over the years, we got there's kids doing fest in Illinois and a couple other states. They're like, can Makara, Welcome to Play Gear, have a reunion show and come play our fest? And it's like, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Like, we all live in different places now and stuff like that. But I mean, I am definitely not against it. That's for sure.
And
So,
Makara would probably be easier too because don't all you guys kind of live in like not the same state, but like close enough where that could
yes,
work instead of Welcome to Plague Year.
yes. Three of the members still live in California. Chris, the other guitarist, he lives in Portland, I believe, but he's been MIA lately. And I'm just in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so it would not be that hard to get together for sure.
So, what drew you from Milwaukee to Northern California?
Um, okay. So in the middle of the summer, um, I went on tour with Constantine Sincotti, and we ended up going to staying with Justin Pearson in San Diego. And a couple months later, James, I don't know if it was James or Chris or Matt, but they called me and they said, "Do you want to sing for this band in Cupertino?" And I was like, "Okay." So they sent me down a demo. Nick, if I'm getting any of this wrong, I know he's watching. I'm trying to remember. I have a horrible memory. Um, and then they came and got me my stuff, moved me up to Cupertino, and we started Makara right away. All we did was that band. We worked our jobs, got off work. All we did was Makara. Practiced. We recorded that 7-inch 3 months later, about 3 months later. And then every weekend we played every single city in California. But we never toured outside of California.
And the first 7-inch was that in '97 that you guys put out that first 7-inch EP?
Oh, I think it was before then.
Oh, was it before then? I thought it was '97 for some reason.
No, I'm thinking it's 94, 95. You mean the ones with the two aliens in the jars?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that was early on. We actually spray painted. We had our whole backyard full of all the 7-inches, and each of us spray painted a stencil on the back side of the record of the 7-inch. So there's about 4 different designs.
I heard you guys. A couple of you were X-Files fans. So was that generated by your love of X-Files with the alien
Yes,
on the cover?
yes. That card is it's an actual X-Files card. So Chris Story loves Scully and the show. I love the show. Thus, the samples in the 10-inch, the split 10-inch. That took a minute to fit all the samples in, but we got it done. But yes, for sure, our love for the X-Files.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that split 10-inch is amazing.
Yeah, that was. And the vocals on the 7-inch. The reason why there's so much feedback is I ended up using a Big Muff on my vocals. And those pedals are made from, back in the day, made from army tanks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's where the fuzz and the feedback came from on the 10-inch and the 7-inch, if you were wondering, because it gets real loud. But that's why it was the pedal that I was using on my vocals.
I mean, that almost like brings the like energy though of the feedback a little bit. That's why you guys were so like great back then. When I first heard you, I mean, I think the first thing I heard was Paper Cuts, and I think a lot of people, that was the first song that a lot of people heard first. But then I dove into you guys, and I was blown away. Especially you guys were doing things I don't know, a little more chaotic back then than other bands were doing at that time. And I think it's
For sure.
spurned a lot of other bands to like kind of go in that mold.
Mm-hmm. And it's I think the bands we were in, well, especially like them guys, James and Crispin, Jen and Piccolo and stuff. I think it was like a general like evolution to do what we were doing, I guess. And the bands we were listening to, because remember, there was Honeywell, there was all that back then. You know what I mean? So that was also influences too.
Yeah, I mean, Makara was a band of people that were in super groups. I mean, Mohinder, Jenny Piccolo, Yaphet Kotto, and
Right.
and then went on to like Ruheda and you welcome the plague year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's almost like you guys were like a super group almost even back then, To me, it was at least as a fan and someone that listened to you guys all the time back then.
Well, it's crazy because we were like, I'm in my late 40s now. But I was I was 21, 22 back then. We were all around the same age. Nick, the bass player, was a little bit younger. So it was like, I don't know, it was just such a fun time. I think because we were so young and being older, we look back on everything that we did music-wise, and it's like, God, I wish those days would come back again, because those were the best days, for sure.
I mean, it would be great to see a reunion from you guys. I know you're open to it, and I
Mm-hmm.
know COVID's a huge thing right now, but
Yeah.
especially if you guys could do a reunion and hit the East Coast, where all the people from the East Coast didn't get to see you, or even everywhere that didn't get to see you guys because you played in California all the time.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think that would be, and I know a lot of bands do that, like Paris, Texas, and Jawbreak. I know a ton of bands have done reunion shows over the years, and I would definitely be open to it for sure. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great, definitely. Now, did you guys have a tour set up and then you guys broke up, or was there ever a tour? Like, did you guys have the notion that you were gonna tour outside of California, and then things just like didn't work out for you guys? Was there a tour like lined up?
Um, hey Nick, you're watching. Wasn't there a European tour set up for us, or no?
Nick says, "Show us the money."
I know we spent just in California. The drives were so long that that's like where we just concentrated on playing shows. I mean, the shows, and we played houses in Oakland, Berkeley. We played with Nuzzle. We played San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and houses. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah, we did have a European tour set up, but then things fell through with us.
Did you guys ever?
Thanks, Nick.
Did you guys ever get close to Mexico to play in Mexico at all?
Well, we play Shea Cafe and we in San Diego, so that's as close as you can get.
Yeah.
So, but no, we never. I don't know why we ever went down there. Maybe because Nick was younger. So.
So when Makara ended, you moved to Minneapolis. Is that right?
When Makara ended, I moved back to Wisconsin for a little bit, and then I just felt things got stagnant. So I moved to me and my friend Kevin, who's in a band in Minneapolis. I forgot what they're called, Dark Funeral, I think. But we moved to Minneapolis in '99, and I lived there from '99 to 2000, which is when, I don't know, do you know Ian Smith at all from Minneapolis? He does 25 Diamonds record label.
No.
And he's the other singer for 1910. Oh, okay. And we just all decided to.
Huh? He was the other singer from 1919?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, so we just started doing that, and that kept us busy for a couple of years. We went on tour, everything. It was great.
And you guys only put out a demo, though, right?
Yes, a 4-track demo that we recorded in a basement with just mattresses around us doing vocals. It was those times.
Yeah, I've heard the demo. I love that demo. I think it's.
We have a live radio show too when we played NYU.
Oh, no kidding.
Steve Rocha, I believe, put that out. Yeah, it's around somewhere, I believe. I know we have a recording from tour, just our personal cassettes from tour from that radio show, but I don't know if anything ever happened to it. I know Ian has still been talking about doing a 7-inch, a live DVD, and that radio show, putting that out. So
that would be great. Oh, so the live radio show isn't out anywhere, like on YouTube or anything like that, where somebody could hear it?
Maybe. I just found this the Plague Year page on Instagram, and I I don't check YouTube for anything really, so maybe there's that possibility.
Yeah. Now, when you guys toured with, when you were in 1919, how far did you go with that tour? Did you guys hit the East Coast or?
No, we stayed in Midwest. We played one of the Columbus Fests. It was a short tour. It's one of the short ones for sure. But we stayed in Midwest, and then went out. The farthest we went was like was Ohio, and then back up and around.
Nice. Now, do you
Yeah.
remember any like what shows stood out with to you when you played in 1919? Did you play any like really good shows that stood out still in your mind right now?
Yeah. Orchid and Jerome's Dream.
Oof, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
In Basement and Extreme Noise. Fucking amazing. Yes.
Wow.
It was loud. It was everything. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So
Yeah.
when that band ended, how did you end up in Philly playing with Welcome to Plague Year? How did that work into the fold of things?
Let's see. Okay. Not to sound cheesy, but me and somebody at the time had been talking for like 6-7 years, and we thought it was time. This is when we're still writing paper letters and all that. Thought it was time to kind of see where our relationship will bloom into. It was Chad. He was in Puritan and Asani Saba. So I moved to was that Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, where we lived at their parents' house for a minute, and then we made the move to Philadelphia. And then that's when I met up with Larry and John and everybody. And then we decided to start a band almost right away. And then from there, we practiced every weekend. And then I set up our shows. I set up our tour. Remember when Viva La Vinyl was around?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what helped us set up the tour. So, but yeah, sitting in because I had the most time on my hands. So I had a job 6 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. I had the rest of the time to book a tour and, to stay in touch with people about that. So.
Yeah, I was talking to Larry about that, and he was still in Delaware, but the drive from Philly to like where he was living was barely a drive at all. So were you guys practicing in Philly, or were you practicing in Delaware?
Chris, our other guitarist, or Jonathan and Chris, and we practice in South Philly like every weekend.
And he also mentioned that a lot of the recording was all done at once, almost pretty much. Is that how things worked out for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah. And our LP was recorded. It was interesting because I believe his name was Derek who recorded us. He lived in a big Victorian. And he actually we were all in the basement. Me and Larry were in the kitchen doing vocals. Guitars and bass were in the basement. And the drums were in the living room with a microphone hanging from the ceiling. And that's how we got Kevin's drum sound. And I saw him doing this. I'm like, what is he, in my head, I'm like, what is he doing? And then you hear it play back and you're like, oh, okay. That sound is beautiful.
Yeah. The recording is amazing. Now, was the demo recorded first? Was that the very first thing recorded?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The demo was amazing. The demo is so good.
Yeah, the demo was that was amazing. Yeah, that was done first. And then we had Matt from Makara approach us of doing the 7-inch Funeral Diner.
Yeah.
which I told you meant a lot to me and Matt because we go back to Makara days. So for having us do a record together from when he was in his old band to us even doing a California tour together was just like the world. That was just amazing.
Yeah. I had spoken to Seth a while back too, and he's a great guy. I love Seth. And also his record label that he's doing with I forget the guy that he's doing his name that he's doing it with, Repeater Records, though. They're doing great things, repressing like classic albums too.
Cool.
So hats off to Seth. They're doing like Reversal of Man discography soon. So
what? Nice. Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
had no idea.
yeah, so they're compiling all old pictures and anything that they can send that anybody has with Reversal of Man stuff. Seth
Right.
Repeater Records is getting all that stuff, and they're going to put out a vinyl. And just like they did with you and I, they just did a great double LP of the you and I discography as well.
Nice. That same label?
Yeah, same label. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So
That is awesome.
they won't do anything new. They're just doing represses and doing like brand new layouts and everything like that. So they're doing a really good job over there.
Yeah, that's still good. I mean, all these years later, we still listen to those records. So to have it all together on one thing, because then you have the demo, you have the 7 inches, you have the records, and now you have everything all in one. So
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
it's a good idea. I'm glad somebody's doing that too. Because I mean,
Right.
I love new bands as well, but I still always listen to the classics. And like I said, I was listening to Mohinder the other day, and I love that band. That band is so
Yes.
amazing, and they get kind of forgotten about, but that band is so good, and I could listen to that every day, honestly.
James's drumming is just amazing. Like, I love watching him play drums and hearing him at Mohinder, watching him in Makara. It was just like it's so special.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that is because just his drum sound is just so unique, and it was just fun. Like it was always great just watching him play for sure.
Now, how many times did you end up seeing Mohinder? Did you see them like a bunch of times back in the day?
No, I just said they're 7 inches. 92, what, 92, 93?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said they're 7 inches. They were already broken up. James he was already doing Calm, and I believe Calm had already broken up by the time Makara started. So
Now, with all the stuff that you guys put out, do you have all that stuff in your possession? Like, did you save everything that you guys
oh
did?
yes, oh yes, yeah. Because that was my heart and soul. So it's still that's the thing that burns inside is the music and the passion and the inspiration from it for it and to give it to people. So to have those things physically in my hands that I put my heart into is I'll never let those go.
Yeah. Did you keep? You guys did Welcome to Plague Year did shirts too, right? Correct.
We did shirts, we did patches. I had a little plastic Goko machine. I don't know if you've seen those before. It's like you can do 4 or 5 color. You can make the screen inside the contraption. You close it. The flash makes the screen, and that's it.
Wow. Okay.
And then you just screen print it. It was like $200. You could do it all at home. It was small. So I just made Welcome to Plague Year patches with that. So
Now did Makara
there's
have
some
shirts?
yeah,
Makara made
I
shirts, too?
believe we did patches with the same machine too, and I believe along with the 7 inch, or was it our song on the Witching Hour? I believe Chris, our guitarist, made a hand-stitched record cover for quite a few of those.
No kidding. That's awesome. Going back
Yeah.
to Welcome to Plague Year. Did you guys tour with like a sister band that toured with you guys? Did you tour with anybody like when you went on tour? I know that was the band that you toured the most with.
Funeral Diner, Ampere. We played a bunch of songs with Daughters. Cowboys Became Folk Heroes.
Great.
Kevin, the drummer, we got to be very, very, very close friends for many years. We have lost touch over the years. But they are one of those bands that you watch and you get goosebumps.
Yeah, Cowboys Became Folk Heroes is a great band. Such a great band.
Oh my God. Just seeing them live, you just want to tear up. I mean, they just get you. And we played a party, the majority of our shows on that tour with them, and yeah, it definitely meant everything. Because it's like I feel like they were one of the last bands to embody that.
Now, are you surprised at how Daughters has been doing? Like you played shows back then, and then they've exploded in the past like couple of years.
Right?
I'm good friends with Lex, and I'm good friends with Nick too. I love those guys. I've known them since they were like young teenagers in As the Sun Sets, and they used to be well, Nick wasn't in Cast Off Skin, but Lex and John were. And
Uh-huh.
are you surprised that how they exploded and how they?
I don't know, they were still together.
Yeah, they're still going. Like they're John and Lex are still in the band, and Nick.
They played down, like a couple years ago, they played in Albuquerque, and I had one of my coworkers, they're like, oh, we're going to go see Daughters and whatever. I'm like, wait, they're still together? Because I was like, you know, my band used to play with them a whole lot, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's great. Good for them.
Yeah, still going strong.
Good
I mean, their last tour, the European tour, was sold out all over the place, and then they came
Wow.
back to the U.S. and I think pretty much every show was sold out, and they were going into bigger venues as well, just because that last album just blew up, and it kind of made people that weren't into their older music, like, you know, so now they have the older fans and they have the new fans now. So, and they also took Jerome's Dream, who got back together on that European tour for a little bit. So Jerome and Daughters played in Europe a bunch of shows.
Wow, that's awesome. Jeez. Yeah, talk about knowing kids since they were little kids. Like I mentioned to you, I always taught anti-schism in the garage in Waukesha, Wisconsin, with 14 other people. And it was Davey who later on became went in Captain Jazz and Promise Ring and all that. But he was like a 15-year-old kid. Now he's, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
back then.
That's great. It's crazy. Now, do you listen to any newer bands in the heavier genre now?
I haven't. I mean, I seen Weed Eater a bunch here. I've seen what are they called? I have their back patch. They had a song Redemption. I forgot. Actually, a lot of those bands actually do tour here, and I can't even think of any right now.
I'm pretty sure Jerome's Dream when they got back together again in 2019, I think they played Albuquerque. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it was close to you, but they did, like I said, they went all the way across the United States. They went down to Florida and then went to California and came back, and they were touring most of that 2019 year. I got to see him in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Is Jeff still a singer? Does he still sing like without it, like sing into the air and all that?
No, he actually uses he uses the microphone now. But he's gone back. He's gone back to screaming now because that album that they put out a little while, their last album before they had broken up, it was kind of like singy, like yelly vocals kind of, and now he's gone back to screaming again, which the new stuff sounds amazing.
I'll have to look that up. I didn't know they were still doing that. They were doing stuff again.
Yeah, I had spoken. It's funny you said Jeff, because I spoke to Jeff on here maybe a month ago too, and I've been having a great time talking to like all the musicians and artists that I admire, and like I said, that's why I was thrilled and stoked to talk to you, because like I said, the bands that you were in were very meaningful to me. So I'm trying to talk to everybody that, in that realm, you know what I mean?
Right. Wow. Yeah, we stayed with Jeff too when we played on Amherst, and yeah. Oh, hi Jeff, if you're watching, it's KJ.
Now, I heard that Welcome to Plague Year was gonna record with Kurt Ballou, but it didn't work out. Can you tell the story of that?
Okay, so we wanted to do analog over digital, anything we did. So we drove to Boston. Never been so cold in my whole life until that night we got into Boston. And we went to a studio, and he's like, the digital equipment is broken. He never told us. So we made, I don't know how long the trip was, 6 or 8 hour drive or something in freezing cold weather. And so we're like, nope, sorry, we want to pay you for your you've been doing this for a very long time, and you're very professional, but we wanted analog. So he's like, well, the stuff's broken. So, and he never told us. So we walked out. We
Yeah.
were the only band to ever do that on that guy, on Kurt Ballou.
Yeah, I mean,
So we,
it's good for you guys that you didn't, do something that you didn't want to do too. You know what I mean? Because who knows what it would have sounded like? And I mean, he does a great job. I'm not saying anything about God City and Kurt Ballou. He's done amazing things, but it's good to
right.
hear you guys stuck to your guns and was like, we're not gonna do digital. We're gonna stay analog. I think that's a great story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that he didn't tell us that we made the drive all the way there was just kind of upsetting, but we ended up making a weekend out of it. We had a bunch of friends that lived there, so it was a good fun party weekend for sure.
Definitely. Now when you when Welcome to Plague Year broke up, where did you end up moving to then? Did you go back to Milwaukee, or did you go straight to you're living in New Mexico, right?
Yeah, I stayed in Philly for a little longer, and then I moved to North Carolina for a minute, but then I just essentially just came out here, and I've been out here for 11, going on 12 years.
And what took you out to New Mexico? What drove you out to live there?
The weather, and I had an old friend from way back when that lived out here, and I was over winters. I mean, it's like 14 degrees today here and snow, but it was like almost 70 the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, so I'm kind of hunkered down today because of the weather. But yeah, I'm just over just full on winters and cold weather. And I just wanted to be in an environment where I didn't have to psychologically be ready to walk out of my house.
Yeah, I know. I live in New Hampshire, so it's like lately, lately it's been snow every 2 days. So, and last week I think the highs were like 15 degrees for a whole week. So, yeah, it's gross. I keep telling my wife that I'm dying to move somewhere warm because I mean I'm almost 50 years old, and it's I mean winters are killing me lately. So
yeah.
But she's not budging yet. But I'm working on her.
Yeah. Like the winters are dry. You don't got to worry about humidity, and that's wonderful. So, I mean, I just can't do the Midwest winters no more, or winters anywhere.
But you did mention you were going up to you wanted to move up to
eventually
Milwaukee. They have bad winters, don't they?
Yes, horrible winters. Yeah, eventually going back home, because I've been away for 20 plus years. So, but we'll see. I just take things day by day. I'm newly back at work. I'm a wreck because it's an open kitchen. We just started indoor dining, and there's people in there with no masks on, eating, drinking, and I'm still getting used to that week by week. So.
Now, did you try to start any bands in New Mexico?
Yeah, I started one for a minute. We were called Black Oak. It was heavy. It was a 3-piece. Actually, my fiancé recorded our demo because he's a music producer, so he knows his way around the recording stuff. So, but that was it. It was short lived. It's hard to be in a band here because people really aren't motivated, and coming from somewhere where that's what you need to keep bands going is motivation, and to have the other members just lack that. So.
Yeah, there's not much of a scene in Albuquerque, or is there?
Yeah, there's more so a metal scene over anything for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. The local bands, that's what mostly is around, are metal bands. Thrash, like 80s thrash metal for sure, is a big thing here.
Yeah, kind of sounding like the I don't know if you've heard the band Power Trip, but
is it the one from the 80s, the one that would tour would go?
No, not that Power Trip. I know what the one you're talking about. No, it was,
I was like, I am, but there's another Power Trip?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the singer had just passed away like less than a year ago, but they were like a throwback to early thrash metal. They were probably like the best new thrash metal band that like is around, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, they passed away. But I'll send you a link, and you'll probably like them because they were really, really, really good.
Nice. Yeah, one thing that music-wise, that really got me way back when was the Gorilla Biscuits Start Today record. That got me onto, even though I was never straight edge, but that got me into Chain of Strength, Youth of Today, like all that way back when.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely a genre of music that was a part of my life too.
yeah.
Uniform Choice, oh yeah.
Start Today was like a classic. I love that album. Luckily, I got to see Gorilla Biscuits back then, and I saw Youth of Today
Oh,
back then. I saw
oh my God.
Judge back then. I saw
Wow.
Sick of It All when Blood, Sweat, and No Tears came out. So I mean,
Nice.
Boston was a pretty great scene back then. So
I bet.
I was lucky, and I started going to shows when I was really young. So like I said,
Yeah.
just a great scene up here, and I'm lucky that I got to record Welcome to Plague Year in Connecticut. And it's funny that you saw that. You were like, hey, where is this? Like when we first
Oh, were you at that show?
Yeah, I recorded that show.
Oh wow, okay. I've never the only footage, honestly, the only live footage I've seen was from All Books when we played with Cowboys in that in the bookstore in South Carolina. Hot, very hot that day. And but that's the only footage I've ever seen until the footage that I've seen of yours. I was like, wow, that sounds really good. And other than that, I really haven't seen any live footage. But
Yeah,
that was really
that
good.
was in Yukon in Connecticut, and you guys
Right.
played with Ampere, and Cursed was on that show. Cursed, I think,
Okay.
headlined that show, but I recorded
Wow.
like all three. You got three bands. It was a great show that night. I was lucky enough to record it too.
Oh man. Okay. So I was like, where does this come from? Okay, now I know where it came from. Nice.
And I took a few pictures too while I had the camcorder too. So there's a couple like still pictures with like I used to bring like a disposable camera, the little disposable ones with the you wind it
Yep.
up, and so I
With
took
the
a photo
cardboard. Yep.
while I was recording.
Oh man. Sorry, my dog just tried jumping up.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay. Fine.
I have two dogs too. Luckily, they're my daughters are watching them downstairs.
Yeah, my dogs are both in the bedroom, and they're both on the bed here. Okay, just stay off the computer.
Now with the Black Oak Band, you said you recorded. Is that anybody could hear that? Like
We'd have to find. I know it's on some hard drive somewhere because where it was recorded, where I lived, was next to a practice studio, and they actually built a studio in there with everything. So there is a couple, like Crew had, my fiance has a couple hard drives, and those are what we find because he does like he does rap and freestyles and all that, battle raps, and I actually did a collaboration with him, which we can't find either. I did quite a few collaborations with him, with me screaming and him doing what he does.
oh wow,
And we don't know where. We have to find them because those were gems, and then he also Black Oak is around somewhere along with those songs too. So
yeah. Did you guys ever play out as Black Oak?
nope,
Never played a live show.
never played a live show. Close, but it never happened.
Now, do you have the fire inside to start another band now? You must be itching at starting a new band.
Yeah, it's never stopped. But just right now, it's just with the pandemic, it's just been, hunkering down, me, Crew, and the dogs. Now me newly back to work. Now it's just kind of going on the next chapter.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. And, that's always in my mind. Playing music still is always in my mind. I don't think that'll ever go away.
Now, if you compared Black Oak to somebody, what was the sound like? I know you said a three-piece. What was the sound like in the same vein? Like,
I'd say Electric Wizard and I Hate God kind of smushed together. Does that make sense?
I don't know if it was Nick who said that you should be in like a black metal band. Have you ever had any thoughts about getting into a black metal band?
No, but I like some of those bands. But no, that's not my. I know he probably thinks I look like, because I have this long, crazy black hair. But um, Nick actually asked if when he's getting a project going in California soon, that he actually asked me to do vocals on one or both of the band. Rojeda getting back together, right, Nick? And then another project band he will be working on. He asked if I would do vocals. Haha, he just did Kerry and Corpse Paint. I've done that for Halloween last couple of years. When I first moved out here, that was my Halloween costume. But I told him yes, I would. However we would do it, long distance or whatever, I said I would definitely be a part of what he's doing.
Yeah, Ruheda was so good. I love that album on Level Plane. That album is so good. So good.
Yeah, so and they're getting back together from what I understand, and he asked me to do vocals on that and or another project he's starting. So that will be coming in the future.
Now, Ruheda, is that all going to be the original members in that band, or?
I don't know. It's Nick and Matt for sure, right? Was Josh in that band, Nick? I wasn't living in California when Ruheda was going. Hopefully, Nick will answer soon.
Did you get to see them live though when they played out, Ruheda?
No, they weren't. They never played anywhere near where I lived. If they did go on tour, so. But Nick,
I have a friend named Carl who used to play in a band called The Fail from Providence, Rhode Island, and he had said that he had set up a show with Ruheda up in Providence, Rhode Island, and I missed the show. So the one time I went to see it, like I could have saw him, I blew it. I didn't hear about the show until it was too late.
Right.
But I was kicking myself in the ass for missing them because, like I said, I love that album on Level Plane. It's so good.
I mean, I'm glad they were. I'm still. Nick said all four of them will be back together as the original lineup. Okay.
Wow.
I guess our friend Josh isn't around. He lives in New York City, I believe. Josh was around for the Makara days and Ruheda days. I mean, he was a friend of Nick and Matt. So, but yeah.
I think it's great that these older bands are getting back together again and doing new music, and I think that's amazing, especially people that are in their 40s.
Right. And we all are.
And I see it a ton too nowadays, and the music is still amazing. Like when these artists are putting out, like I said, Jerome Stream's new stuff is ridiculous. It's so good, and I love to see that happen. And I would love to see Makara maybe do a last show or something like that. Or I mean, what would blow me away is if you guys made new music. That would be like mind blowing to me.
Oh, he said Josh is in LA. I thought Josh was in New York City. I would be into it. I'm sure Nick, Matt, Jay, I'm sure hopefully they would be into it too. I would love that. Because now that we're older, and I think the appreciation of what we did to ourselves, like with ourselves in the band, I think we would carry it on now. Because that's what I think what we did then is what inspired us. So, we would probably let that still, burn with us as far as making the music. I would totally be into it.
Now, speaking about Welcome to Plague Year, were you fans of Larry and John's old bands? Like, were you Joshua Fit for Battle? Like, did you like that band? Did you like?
Yeah.
I was like Neil Perry is obviously amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
You and I. So. Yeah,
and it was just that area of the country too, Jersey, Philadelphia, it was just like that little corner, that little pocket where, the drives are real short. And everyone lived next to each other, so close to each other. But yeah, for sure.
Now, did you see a difference between like you were in a band in the East Coast and you were also in a band in the West Coast? Did you see a difference in the scenes, or was it pretty much the same type of scene?
It's pretty much the same. But from hosting band, like setting up shows, having bands stay over, cooking food for everybody after the show, that's the only difference I've seen is being that person out on tour. And people not being like that, which in Milwaukee, being so hospitable to the band, to everybody at the show, making food, everyone hanging out, that didn't happen everywhere. I thought, this band's on tour, and you would, I don't know. I guess it's just the welcoming, uh, the welcoming that we have in Milwaukee, as far as like making everyone feel comfortable. It's not like that everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
There's people are like,
Did you not see it in the East Coast? Because I mean, Boston can be kind of rude, and I know like New York, for the most part, is not too bad. But I mean, it can be kind of not personal when you go places.
right. Like when we would play, like when Plagueira played New York City, we'd drive back to Philadelphia. You know what I mean? It's like traffic everywhere. But the West Coast, I think, because of because it was like in the middle '90s, everything was, I wouldn't say brand new, but still everyone was younger, so there was that excitement. So so that was there with the kids and with us. But being older and then being on the East Coast, it was like we'd play shows close enough to drive back home.
Yeah.
So, it was just like, maybe it was just, younger versus being older, so.
Yeah. Now,
but the Midwest is definitely, the most welcoming, I feel.
Yeah. Now, did you ever get into like the metalcore genre, like like not so much tough guy stuff, but people that are moshing and stuff like that? Was that ever a thing for you that you like
well, yeah, I mean, I go, what was that hockey band, Slapshot?
Yes.
Remember them? One of the loudest bands I've ever seen. I saw them in a little underground club in the basement, and it was the loudest fucking thing I've ever been to in my life, I will say. But you mean stuff like that? Or do you mean like Cro-Mags and shit like that?
No, I kind of mean like after those bands kind of like fizzled out, maybe like the Converge type of stuff, or Coalesce, or stuff that like people were like really like slam dancing to and moshing to, like in that like late '90s like era.
Oh, the macho like tough guy stuff.
Yeah, was that ever like
no.
Did you like any of that music? I mean, I love Converge, but and I love Coalesce too, but I was just wondering if you went to shows back then when people were like slam dancing and like.
I'd go and stand in the back and just watch the males just work out all their testosterone issues on the floor in the mosh pit. It was more so like, oh my God. But because it would be like, from what I've seen, just like jock types going just to get out their energy in the mosh pit. I don't know.
Yeah, it got pretty violent, like up in the East Coast. It wasn't violent, maybe in the early '90s, mid '90s, but then once like, I don't know, maybe, well, actually '80s, maybe it was like nice and smooth in the late '80s, and then when the '90s hit, it started getting really, really violent. And then it kind of slowed down a little bit at the late '90s. But Boston got really, really violent, to the point where I kind of like had to watch what I was doing, because it was getting crazy up here. And
right,
venues,
right.
and venues were not shutting down, but they wouldn't let that music play, and because kids were getting beat up and stuff like that. So
it would just become violent. Yep. Yeah, I remember. There it is. I missed the show, but Agnostic Front in Milwaukee back in the late '80s. Saw Circle Jerks, GBH, Exploited way back when, SNFU, 7 Seconds. All that before I was 17 years old.
Yeah,
so.
that's I mean, between me and you, we've seen almost every classic band. I swear.
Right. And I remember I went to art high school just because I was so funny looking. I was punk rock girl, so I went to in all arts high school, where all the misfits went pretty much. And remember in my cassette Walkman, I'd either have in Minor Threat or Uniform Choice, Screaming for a Change record. That was just life. And then I guess when I think about it, going back to your question of how I got into it, was, remember 120 Minutes?
I
on
do.
MTV.
Yes, Matt
Yep,
Pinfield.
that. Way back in the day, that's, found some bands that way. Lemonheads actually sticks out to me. And then this college radio station, MSC in Milwaukee, which is still around, also did punk rock. That also kind of got me in that direction also way back when. So
I know skateboarding was like a big thing that got people into punk rock and
we
hardcore.
got the skate rock. Yeah, I bought the skate rock cassettes. Yep.
Yeah, because I never was a skateboarder, but I always bought a Thrasher just because of the music section. I'd
Mm-hmm.
always go, like, I'd skip through all
Yep.
the skateboarding stuff and go right
Yep.
to the music section and see if I could, like, if I knew the band, and if I didn't, I'd have to go, like, search out, like, to try and find the record somewhere at the record store.
Yep. For sure. Those skate rock tapes. Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely those.
I always
I
wanted to
forgot
be
about those.
I always wanted to be a punk rocker. Like when I saw Repo Man with Emilio Estevez, like
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I want to be punk rock like those guys, like skanking
You can't forget.
in an alley.
You can't forget Suburbia.
Oh, Suburbia's great. Yeah, those
Yeah.
movies like that made me like want to be a punk rocker and drew me to it. Like especially back then, definitely.
Yep. And then you got to remember the Social Distortion documentary when they went on tour, the Youth Brigade and all that. Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. I've talked to a lot of people though, and they do say skateboarding kind of bridged the gap between that and punk rock. You didn't do any skateboarding when you were younger, did you?
No, I was into it. My friends did it. I would go to Turf Skate Park. I actually saw Libido Boys there. Bands would play at the skate park. I would go with my friends that skated. Loved watching it. Still love watching it. But never got into it. Never did it. But my friends did, and I was around it. So
Yeah. Now, were you a hip hop fan back then? Because I'm a huge '90s hip hop guy. Like I love the boom bap era of hip hop. Did you like hip hop back in the day?
yeah, but I think more so now because of like that's where Crew came from. My fiance, he came from all that. So I have a nice new appreciation of all of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you weren't listening to it back then, were you?
Not so much. I know. I just stayed like from the metal to the punk rock to the hardcore. Let's see, I liked 80s stuff back in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it kind of moved to where it is now. But after meeting him, he's old school hip hop. So that's where, I find a lot of new stuff out we've been together 8 years. So just over this whole time, definitely. And I took him to see, Method Man. I took him to see a whole bunch. Eric B. Rakim, I took him to see, and it's a guy from Texas. Hey, Crew.
Scarface?
No, it's Hey, Crew.
It's not Paul Wall, is it?
No, it's what the hell is it? Now it's gonna drive me nuts. He's from Texas. Let's see. Hold on 1 second, because now it's gonna bug me. I'll be right back.
All right.
Devin the Dude.
Oh, Devin the Dude. Nice. I've seen Devin the
Yeah.
Dude.
Yep. Yeah, I got pictures of him, and then me and him went to see Lil Rob. That was awesome. But yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it's cool because he goes to, like, I drug him to Weed Eater shows and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just cool. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
That, like, no matter what we're into, we'll still go to each other's shows and whatnot.
Yeah. Now, did he like the heavy music before, or does he like it now that since you guys been together?
I think he knows more about it now from me and didn't understand it then. But he's one of those, he's a music guy, so he has appreciation for all of it. So, like I said, he went to school for recording. He was a producer in California, and he just was sick of the corporate bullshit and just wanted to go DIY. So that's where it's at now. Yeah, for sure.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Usually before I wrap things up, I usually do a rapid fire questions to everybody that I talk to. So I'm going to shoot these questions at you real quick, if you don't mind. Number one, favorite New England punk hardcore band for you all time. Favorite New England one, which is like Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island.
Oh my God.
I mean, it could be Converge, Cave In, Orchid, Ampere, Slapshot.
Can I go back to Road Biscuits because that's New York?
Well, yeah, that's New York.
Okay, I'll do Road Biscuits.
Second question: what was the first punk hardcore show you attended?
GBH.
What year?
Sorry, they exploited.
What year was that?
That was 87.
Wow. All-time favorite punk hardcore show you played, which could be a couple because you were in 3 bands that played shows. You could give me a couple. All-time favorite punk hardcore show you played.
I'll do the Makara show when it was one of our first shows with Swing Kids. And then I'll do another Makara show at Nuzzle because I love Nuzzle. Way back then, we were able to play with them, even though I got knocked in the head with the bass pegs and my head was bleeding, but it was all good. And then Welcome to Play Gear would have to be with Envy and I Hate God. And the Cowboys became folk hero shows.
John said Elements of Need or I'm leaving.
Ah.
My next question.
We never played with them. I wish. Anyway.
My all-time favorite punk hardcore show you attended, not played, but like watched. What was your favorite hardcore punk show that you actually went to see?
I'd have to say it would be the after shows after the Columbus Fest, because they would put the shows from the big space to just someone's basement.
And what kind of
and
band?
I believe
what kind of bands?
That one I believe was Constantine Sencati and a bunch of other bands. Yeah.
My next question: what was the last movie you watched? I'm a huge movie fan, so I always ask this to everybody.
Actually, A Star Is Born, the new one of Lady Gaga.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. How was it?
I've seen the original with Barbra Streisand when I was younger. Well, the second, there was 3 of them, 3 remakes. But I thought she was amazing in it, and from understanding that she sat with Bradley Cooper for a year teaching him how to sing and play guitar for the movie, just makes it more this like amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I was wondering. I've heard good things about it, but I just haven't got to see it yet.
Yeah, I'm not like a big like. I mean, I love movies, but I was surprised how good it was.
My next question: favorite all-time horror movie.
Horror movie. Let's see. I'm so picky about those. I'd have to say the Rob Zombie House of 1,000 Corpses.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of his newer stuff? Yes,
not as good. Very predictable. Not as good at all.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, 31. I was
very disappointed. And is sorry, but his wife cannot act. So having her be a lead in what was it, Salem? Was it Salem's Lot or something?
Oh no, I know.
What the hell was that? Well, she was at my DJ.
It's not Witches of Salem. It's something of Salem.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? I can't think of it. It's something of Salem.
Yeah, and I was like,
that was horrible. That was horrible.
3-1. What was it? 3. The 3. the last one he did, that was horrible too. I was all excited for that. That ended up being predictable and boring.
Yeah, the Devil's
Um,
Rejects, the last one, the final movie. Yeah, that was horrible too. Yeah, I
right.
agree. I
And
agree. I was like hoping it was going to be so good because I love Devil's
yeah,
Rejects and I love House of a
yeah,
Thousand Corpses. But then
yeah.
that came out. I mean, it probably didn't help that Sid Haig was like on his deathbed, like
Right, right.
by
And
the
his Halloween remakes were okay. They were okay for his point of view. But I mean, I would also go Rosemary's Baby too.
I'm surprised they haven't remade Rosemary's Baby with all the remakes that they do. I'm surprised that that movie hasn't been remade, honestly.
Don't
But I
even
mean,
get me started on. I've been watching like so many movies and shows and stuff during this time, and yeah, just the reboot thing. Don't even get me started on that.
my last question I kind of asked already is like, if you've been listening to hip hop lately, like in the past like month or so, who have you been listening to, and what maybe your fiance is showing you some new hip hop. What have you been listening to lately?
Um, I forgot what he had playing, but we've actually been listening to Yellow Wolf and Struggle. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with Yellow Wolf at all.
I've heard, yes.
Okay. See, I also love Hang Three and all that. So Yellow Wolf kind of puts everything all together. So, because I'm also a rockabilly fan too.
Yeah.
So he kind of puts like hip hop and like old country together. He did a couple songs with Eminem, my best friend.
Oh no.
But I'm a sucker for the Fugees. Killing Me Softly for sure.
Yeah, the Fugees just the Score album just celebrated 25 years yesterday.
Oh wow.
It's funny that you said the Fugees because yeah, that album's 25 years old now, which is insane because I saw the
Wow.
Fugees on the side stage before that album had come out. I saw them on I think the first album's like Blunts of Reality or something like that, and I saw them on
Mm-hmm.
the side stage in Lollapalooza when
Oh
Beastie
wow.
Boys and Tribe Called Quest and Smashing Pumpkins headlined that. It was like Nick Cave and the Bad
Wow.
Seeds and L7 played.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That would have been
a good,
awesome.
yeah, it was a good Lollapalooza, definitely.
How was Nick Cave? How was seeing that?
Awesome. It was so good.
Oh
Like
my
that
god.
was such a great lineup. L7, the Boredoms played.
Wow.
Who else played? I'm trying to think.
Oh my gosh.
Breeders played that tour.
Wow.
Luscious Jackson played the side stage on that tour too. So it was yeah, it was kind of a mind blowing show back then, definitely.
Wow. Are you a Sunny Day fan?
Like early stuff, not like so much like when they went on. Kind of like the first stuff that they put out. I wasn't huge on them, but
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, as far as like one of the best live shows, like in such a small space, and how good they were, they kind of made like everyone kind of sway together, like the music just kind of enveloped you. But yeah, that was one of those memorable shows for sure. As far, yeah, that was early '90s as well. That's when uh, Diary came out. It was when that record came
oh
out.
yeah. Um, I don't want to hold you up too long. I want to thank you once again for talking with me for an hour or so. I really appreciate it. And any
Oh no,
new
it's been like
any new music that you have coming out, like please reach out to me and let me know so that I know because I'd love to hear it. And
I will. I'll let you posted for sure.
and I'll send you some links on some stuff. Like I said, that Power Trip band is really really good.
Yeah,
I think you'll dig that. And anything new
that'd
that
be cool.
I think you might like, especially I'll send you a link to the new Jerome's Dream stuff too. And
Yeah, well, I love that for sure. Yeah, that was a good surprise to hear. I was not expecting that, but yeah, definitely look forward to that.
and like I said again, thank you so much for taking time out. I appreciate it. Please stay safe with this COVID stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hopefully
No,
we
thank
get to
you
see
so
him.
much.
Oh, Soul Glow. Nick just said Soul Glow, which is funny because I have a little surprise in a couple weeks about Soul Glow. So if anybody looks at my page, I got a little surprise in a couple weeks with that band.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
There you go, Nick.
but thank you once again, and I appreciate it.
No,
And
thank
please,
you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And please, let's stay in touch, definitely.
All right, for sure.
All right, have a great night.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Here.